Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about 3%, Season 1, Episode 8. It is the season finale of Season 1, and it's called Button. But can I just say, I really wish they employed the use of the word the. I feel like I'm having a hard time saying these titles because they all feel like they should have, not all of them, but most of them feel like they should have the word the in front of them.
That's a fair criticism. Probably the
Button,
biggest criticism of the show yet.
yeah, button is just really hard to say without saying the button.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wonder if that's just because of the translation. Like if it whatever it is in Portuguese, it doesn't need a the. It like rolls off the tongue a bit
Yeah,
better.
but that's exactly the sort of thing they just put in the subtitles for us because it just works in our language that way.
Maybe, but
I don't know. Weird. I don't know. It was the same with that movie that came out last year, Room. That really annoyed me. At least with that one, though, I get that they did not want to draw comparisons to another film that was called The Room.
yes, they wanted to avoid that at all costs. Didn't stop people making the mistake anyway, though, did it?
There's Tommy Wiseau. I came for Tommy Wiseau, and I'm getting real arson. What is this nonsense? I have been mispromoted too.
Aye, I bet you were so
Bastards.
disappointed, weren't you?
So disappointed. Hey, if this was an origin story for Tommy Wiseau though, and he was the kid, perfect,
Jesus.
perfect. It'd explain why he's so socially weird.
Aye, is that what happened to you as well?
I'm not that weird.
Yeah, I mean,
How dare you? Dare you?
should we talk about this show?
Yeah, we should talk about this show. As the finale. To be fair, we got to the finale without tangenting too badly.
I'm quite proud of us for that,
Yeah, and then
actually.
we started the finale with a tangent.
Look, we got through 7 solid episodes without a single tangent. By our standards, that is ridiculously impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, the finale, aka we were wrong about almost everything.
But there was kernels of truth in most things that we
Okay,
did
there
say.
was. See the people who had already watched the whole season before they watched any of our reviews, and 'cause a lot of you will have because you binge watched it. Maybe you weren't stopping between episodes to do a review for a start, so that
Yep.
gives you an advantage over us.
Probably didn't stop to sleep because it was pretty good.
Exactly. So you people probably a few episodes ago when Connor first mentioned, what if Ezekiel's in the cause? Your alarm bells were probably going off, but you were probably laughing because we weren't getting it right.
Yeah.
That was. But here's the thing. I actually think this is even more interesting and more intriguing than
I
anything
agree.
you said. Because what we find out is that he used to be in the cause before he joined the process. He was just like Michelle, and he like converted. He's now fully believed, and it makes what he said to Julia about our son not being worth remembering even more dark
Yeah.
and disturbing, and it also makes like him going to visit the son even more like
It,
what's
it,
the word
it
I'm looking
adds
for?
even more of these shades of grey to him, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's layers. It adds more layers. There's more layers going on here.
Yeah.
He's like an onion or a cake.
Yeah.
Cake's better. That was a really
Yeah.
obscure Shrek joke. I apologise. I remember that scene in Shrek.
I do, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna acknowledge it.
God, I'm
I'm
trying
not a
to.
big Shrek fan, to be honest.
Neither am I, but I remember that scene.
All right.
Anyway, but here's the thing. I don't think Ezekiel believes what he's saying. I think he's convinced himself that he believes what he's saying to like Michelle, that she has to give her up to the process and let the process his life, and there are no villains here. But do you know what I'd compare it to? Right, it's like someone who's gay, but they come from like an ultra devout Christian family, so they're trying to like hide it. So even when he's talking to his superior or the councilwoman about going to see the boy, he says it was a moment of weakness. Like the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's a moment that lasted years.
Yeah. Well, that's what he calls it though. Don't
No,
criticise me.
no,
It's his
that was
wording.
that was what I thought as he said it.
Yeah.
Like because he almost plays it to her like it was a one-time thing.
Yeah. He got caught once, so it happened
Yeah,
one
so it
time.
only happened once, but we know the truth.
Yeah. So. So I know that's like a real weird comparison, but I think it actually fits. It fits in a lot of ways.
No, I agree.
So it makes him worse in a lot of ways. The way he talks to Michelle, and but at the same time, it does like add this, because at the end of the episode when he's like he's thrown the wine bottle and he's like lying there and the blood that's on his hands is almost literally just pouring down his face.
It's a gorgeous shot.
It is a gorgeous shot, and it's cutting between all the people that have died throughout this process and various other things, and it feels like this is the guilt weighing down on him. Like, and Joanna saying the same words that Julia said to him, you know, has inspired like this reaction. Not just now, but even to her when he starts shouting at her and just eliminates her on the spot because she wouldn't kill this person.
Yeah.
You know, and oh man, and, which obviously sets up Joanna. Because it's funny actually. At one point in this episode, I thought, you know what, if Michelle just agrees with Ezekiel here, this would be a spectacularly like rounded off, neatly closed season that I was not expect. I was expecting lots of open things for season 2, which we did get. But for a moment, all it would have taken is one decision from her, and it's neatly tied up. She's learned a lesson. Done.
Yep. Pretty much.
But of course not, because Joanna learns, of course, that she really wants to. I mean, she doesn't say it, but she's clearly going to the cause. She's clearly going to be part of that.
She is clearly going to be our hero in the next season.
She might even end up being the leader of the cause, because Wooden Mask Man, you know, Michelle's had to sell him out, which other big twist.
Crazy theory time.
Oh.
I'm going to throw out another one.
Oh, go on.
That's Ezekiel's father.
I think it's a good guess. The only thing I would disagree with what you just said there is the word crazy. I don't think it's that.
Okay.
That much
When
of
I
a
say
stretch.
crazy, I just mean I've guessed quite a lot of things at this point now, and most of them were mostly wrong. So I'm just going to start it with crazy theory, because then when it turns out to be wrong, at least I acknowledge that, yeah, probably wrong.
I don't necessarily think it is as it isn't true, but I think it's a fair guess. I just don't think it's a crazy one, because yeah, it makes sense that it might be. He's the right age.
It was that, and the way he was talking about him, and you know, just the way he was like, "Oh, that old man." Like, he clearly knows him very well.
So, reveal number 2: Michelle's brother is still alive and did in fact go to Offshore, and we see images of him smiling and being happy.
Yeah, that was a gut punch.
Yeah, that was a gut punch. And you felt it as she was... Which, by the way, we were wrong about everything that was going to happen in this episode. Like, last video, we were talking about, I hope it's just them two in the room for the whole episode talking. But I did like how it opened with playing with where is she? Like, she's not in the room, and Fernando's looking for her, and he can't find her, and...
Oh, man, that poor bastard.
Yeah, speaking of gut punches, they use his own test that he came up with in the last episode against him, and he decides to quit and leave because he thinks Michelle's not going to be there, and that's him. He's eliminated because he failed the test.
Man, failed spectacularly as well.
But now he is so against the process. Like he will hate it now. Him and Joanna, like, they essentially team up at the end, and they're going to take on the world. Like,
yeah.
And what I think is interesting about where everything leaves off at the end of this episode is we have Joanna and Fernando out in the inland, presumably joining the cause, being a major players in that. We have who would have thought Raphael would be the only normal one going to the...
I know, it's crazy.
Sure, Michelle's going, but she's going straight to the recovery and treatment centre. You know, so we've got that aspect being looked at. Whereas Raphael's going to be in the normal area of the offshore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, those teasing bastards ending it with just some lights of the offshore cut.
I know. Do you know
what was actually making me think of as they were going towards it and they were seeing the lights? I was like, even though I'd seen a picture, so I knew it wasn't, but I was like, this almost feels like they're going to Rapture.
I thought that as well.
And Bioshock, yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about the Bioshock, the video game. It's an underwater city, and there was like a feeling of that as they were going towards these lights.
It was that shot from above where you see the submarine car and just the lights of it.
Yeah,
like that feels like something straight out of Bioshock.
Yeah, which again, Raphael being a little bit more human for a couple of ways. Him looking for Michelle and Fernando and being worried that they weren't there.
Mm.
You know, just a little bit of humanity in him, which again is really nice to see. It's nice when a cold character, or in this case a dickhead, like grows and feels a bit more human as it goes on. Which, by the way, we've pondered like 3 or 4 times. Can they or do they not have kids on, or what happens to the kids they have on the offshore? And then in this episode, they just answer it in one sentence.
Yeah, I think I speculated that they didn't have the kids there. Like they had to come back or something. But
you said they had to come back, which is very different. Yeah,
it is different. But you know, it's It's for the same theory, though, isn't it? Like the idea was that they still have to go through the process.
Oh, okay, sure. It's not the same theory though. I feel like
All right, there's the same reasoning as to why.
you're warping this so that you were kind of right. No,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
saying you were wrong in this one.
Well, that was half right.
No, I'll
Lot.
give Ezekiel being in the cause at one point. I will give you that as a half right. This is a wrong. This is just a
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, whatever.
This is the wrong. But that causes conflict for Raphael.
I like I like that answers as to why they keep telling the inlanders that they've got to have kids.
Oh, they need to, because
Yeah,
who else is going to end up coming?
exactly. That's the only way they can sustain their entire system is stealing their kids.
It's all a bit of a scam when you think about it.
It is. Founding couple, phenomenal con artists.
Yeah. So, yeah, so as I say, we have two in the inland, we have two in the offshore, one of whom is like in the main part, one who's in the RTC. You know, I think what's really a little tidbit from Michelle. Obviously, she's been like asked by Ezekiel, and Ezekiel comes on a bit strong as he's like telling her that he didn't kill her brother and so on, to the point where it's hard to be sympathetic with him at that point. I feel like
Yeah, but he did just stop her being tortured.
he did. True.
Yeah.
But what I want to point out here though is she at the end of the conversation, just in case there's anyone else who's like infiltrated them, he asks, right, I know there's another one. And I don't think he actually does know there's another one. I think he's just saying that to try and
I
make
think
her
he's,
talk.
yeah, he's worth it.
And he's like, is there another one? And even though she's just like made this deal and sold out Wooden Mask Man so that she can go and see her brother on Offshore. And by the way, I love that Ezekiel lets her through still because he was in her shoes.
Yeah.
Sure, he's sending her to this nut house, but
But I feel like there's at least a chance that she can get out of that.
yeah, maybe.
Like at some point. It's not, I don't know, I'm not sure it's a permanent thing.
Oh, I don't think it will be. I don't know if she'll be let out or if she will break out as part of her mission or whatever. You know,
Yeah, aye.
who knows? That's a season 2 story waiting to happen, of course. But the fact that she doesn't sell out Raphael, to me, says that despite everything that's just happened, despite everything she's just learned was a lie from Wooden Mask Man, there's still part of her that believes that this process is wrong. That there should be a change. And it's funny how last episode you were like, oh, maybe she handed the casing to Raphael so that she, just in case someone gets caught, it's him and not me. But I feel like here it was almost kind of the opposite thing. It was like, you know what, no, even if I end up not being able to do anything, I'm not stopping him.
Yeah, well, just to go back to that, whereas then it was she thought she could still get away with it, and she could pin it on him. Whereas now it's like she was caught. There was no getting out of it, so she might as well let it be him instead of her, if it was one or the other, because she'd already lost.
Yeah, but I think it says more than that, though. I think it's more that she still believes in this in some way.
Oh, definitely. Otherwise, she'd have just like you say. Even though everything's been a lie, her whole reasoning for this has been lied to her, and the cause, the leadership are the ones that she disagrees with.
Yeah.
She disagrees with the process still, the ideology of it just as much.
But and the funny thing is, though, if you remember back, though, that when he was like, when the flashback we did see of him like lying to her and saying this and that, she was always told never to go straight for revenge. It's not about him. It's about more than that. It's about getting there and doing more stuff. It's about taking it down from within, making bigger changes, gradual changes, as we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even supposed to try and assassinate him. She did that in the heat of the moment because she was like upset.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, like, even though she was being lied to, like, sure, like, your brother's dead's motivation and that was a lie, and sure, it was wrong. Like, I'm not saying that was the right thing to do, but in a weird way, he also never tried to get her to do the wrong thing.
Well,
You know, like,
sure. I mean, you're not wrong there, but
because like you just said, she still seems to believe in stopping the process. She disagrees with what it is.
yeah.
So had she went through with what she was told to do anyway, she still wouldn't be acting any differently than to what she's at least trying to let Raphael do now.
Yeah, I think the difference is now she realizes why she's against the process. It's not just about her brother. She like in that moment she realized.
Well, it's like Ezekiel says. It's like what like us, it's once you went through this process where you've been deceived and you have to make the choice. We're the ones that have true conviction.
Yeah.
Although he says that, I don't believe him.
No, of course not.
I don't believe him for a second. I think he's got doubts. I think he's suppressing it, and I think one day he will help take this down.
Yeah, it was something where like it crossed my mind as he was saying it, but then didn't think of it too much. And then when you see him just break down at the end, it's like, okay, that was all just what he had to say to get through it.
Yeah, I don't believe him for a second. Looking at a season 2, what am I seeing here? Like I said, we've got them all in these different places. I think there'll be more inland stuff, because one of the things that occurred to me as we were watching this one is we didn't actually get a whole lot of inland, like, present day things. There was only a couple of small moments where we seen what was going on in inland. Yeah. Whereas I feel like there could have been a lot more. Not that I wanted more, but I think season 2 will have a lot more because we have 2 of our main characters back in there.
Yeah, I think there'll be less in the process.
Yeah,
I think we'll have little bits.
I think there'll be one going on during the season, but it'll be like, it'll be like a side thing. Maybe we'll learn 1 or 2 of the characters, but we'll still be focusing mainly on the ones that we know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, just yawn for everyone at home.
Sorry, I kind of just slipped out.
Yeah. Tut. But no. Season finale did a lot of different things than I was expecting. I certainly did not expect Michelle to be like as caught in.
Yeah, it never seemed like it was playing in that direction, did it?
Or at least if she was, it would be at the end of the episode after there was a lot of talking to Ezekiel. But the way it actually went was a lot different. Fernando getting eliminated the way he did was just so cold, like so cold.
Yeah, him just waited there the whole day as well.
Yeah, I definitely did not expect 2 of them to be booted out at the last second.
No, because that's kind of like how they feel though, isn't it? They'd passed, everything was done,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, nope, one last thing.
Yeah, so that's 3%. Season 1, really good first season. We need a season 2. That was not the end of the story.
Oh no, absolutely not, and I have no doubt that we'll get it.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I think that's probably. Do you know what I'd be really fascinated to see? Not that Netflix released numbers for anything, but I would love to know specifically what the worldwide audience is for this, like outside of Brazil, and just see how well it's doing. Because it went up the same day as Gilmore Girls, whatever that new season's called.
Yeah.
Which
that's a bold choice.
I guess they were thinking it was a different audience, which, to be fair, it probably is. That said, I do know some nerds who are also into some Gilmore Girls.
Aye, we do know a few.
I've never watched an episode of it myself. Maybe it's...
No, but I'll be honest. So, I have been convinced to try it. Like when I finally get some time to watch my own TV.
Oh yeah, in 2023, I'm sure you'll give it a go.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that'll be anymore, but at some point.
Hey, maybe I'm not knocking it. Maybe it's good, but
yeah.
All I'm saying is something called Gilmore Girls goes up against something. Okay, 3% on its own doesn't sound necessarily anything great, but when I read under it, dystopian science fiction, yep, I'm in.
Yeah. I'd also be interested to know how many people watched it in the original language versus the dub.
Probably most.
You'd think, but something that always interests me.
I feel like the sort of people who watch foreign speaking movies and TV are typically going to be the type of people who will be shocked and appalled if you even suggest they watched it with a dubbed track.
That's a fair point.
I'm not saying there's not any of them, but I feel like the margin will be quite thin.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I'll occasionally watch an old Godzilla movie with an English dub because it adds to the silliness of the whole affair.
Yeah, there's a couple of anime I'll watch dubbed. But
well, see, that's different. Many. Animation's a little bit different, though. Cause
it is a bit different.
Because you get away with it, because it's just, I mean...
Do you know what? I think it is the big difference, is everything in animation, it's always recorded in a studio, regardless.
Anyway, yeah.
So you have to apply the same effects to either language. It doesn't matter. Whereas with this, there's a very clear difference between, no, this was recorded by this person, this matches this body, this is in this location, compared to this is just someone done in a studio and no one's put in the proper effort to make it sound right.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, it was a very good series. This was definitely the first Brazilian TV show I've watched. I can say that with some certainty. I've seen a couple of Brazilian movies, but never a TV show. So
it's very good.
It was very good. So here's looking forward to season 2. Season 1 was very good. Very. Do you know what I like about the whole season as a whole? Very focused. I feel like the pacing was on point. It never felt like it was dragging. It never felt like it was introducing like unnecessary side plots or anything like that. Everything felt like it told the core story that was going on.
Yeah, and it managed to be like, even when we had that break for episode 5, where it was, something completely different to the group we'd been following, it still furthered the singular narrative of this season.
Oh yeah. It was us exploring what the debate of the process for and against it. Like I would argue this season would be a lot lesser overall if that episode was missing. Like,
oh, I completely agree.
That episode adds so much more layers to the whole thing that it needed to be there. So, no, really, really good first season. I will happily be recommending this to folk who have not tried it. So, no, really good. Let us know what you thought of the season as a whole and the finale, and what you think season 2 might entail in the comments below. We'll be excited to hear it. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. And I guess since this is the last episode, I will say maybe some recommendations for other things that you maybe haven't watched. Now, I have no other Brazilian TV shows to recommend, but if you like sort of thought-provoking science fiction, Westworld is just about to wrap up its first season from HBO. Really good. Another show that's on Netflix, so you definitely have access to it if you've been watching this. Black Mirror is right up your alley.
I'd also, just on the off chance you've not been watching it, Mr. Robot. It's not science fiction, but it's very much thought-provoking and looking at society in similar ways that this does.
Yeah, I think Black Mirror is obviously an anthology, but I think that's why it's a really good sell to people
definitely.
who are watching this, and also because it's on Netflix, so it's there. You can watch it because Netflix started producing it from season 3 onwards. So give that a look-see. And of course, we reviewed all this stuff, so you can go and watch all of our crazy theorizing on those, because we do that a lot. We guess a lot of things. We get a lot of things wrong. Occasionally, we get something right. We pat ourselves on the back, and
of course, now that we're at the end, you can comment and tell us how much you enjoyed laughing at us when we were so wrong, because we know you did.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching 3% and our reviews. We always appreciate it. We will see you next time for whatever else is on, but we'll hopefully see you sometime next year for season 2. Goodbye, guys.